Saturday night, and I don't remember this, but the wife told me that I was thrashing around. All I wanted to do was sleep, and this was Saturday morning. I had just woke up, or I'd just gotten up around 10 o'clock, 10:30. I usually get up around 8, 9, depends, and she said I wanted to go back to bed, and I don't remember any of this. And I kept wanting to go back to bed, and I kept wanting to sleep. So she put me in bed, and she said I was thrashing around in bed. And our house is a small trailer, and the bed, there's like a gap like this from the bed to the wall on one side. And I had fallen down in there on my head. And she couldn't get me out. So she played around and messed around and got me out on the floor, and then called for help. So then help showed up, and needless to say, I was laying there stark naked, and got all these guys running around in there doing what they can do. I don't remember any of it. And then they took me to the hospital. I went into the emergency room, and the emergency doctor was a big plus. After 6 minutes it took him to evaluate me, and by then he knew exactly what it was, and then started he came up with the idea because he wanted to double check and make sure he was correct, and he needed to do a spinal tap. To do that, he had to put me under. So they put me under, and they did the spinal tap, and it was just pure infection in my spinal column. And so they realized that he was what he thought it was, and it was meningitis. They, when they were diagnosing and doing all the stuff that they did, they decided that it was a bacterial meningitis. That's the real rare one, isn't it? Does anybody know?
Bacteria.
Oftentimes it's a viral, yeah.
Yeah, and they had no idea how I got it or where it came from. And they still don't know where it came from. And I think I do, though. I think I've figured it out, but I don't know for sure. Anyhow, okay, emergency room, I wake up 12 days later. I was in a coma for 12 days. 12 days, wasn't it?
Yeah, 10 to 12.
Yeah. But when I woke up, I had been in the hospital for like 12 days. They had to make a decision on the 12th day. They had to make a decision whether to pull the plug or not. And this is what they were talking about at this time, pulling the plug. Because they can't keep anybody in a coma, or the way they were keeping me, they can't do it for more than 14 days. So they were getting my wife and family, kids, were all talking about pulling the plug. So they were thinking that I was gone. And on the other side of the spectrum, I was, let's see, how did this happen? I just lost my train of thought. Help me out, Kirk.
When you woke up, is that where you?
Yeah,
Mom.
okay, yeah, okay. Now I'm remembering. When I woke up, I remember seeing a stanchion of about 9 bags of what they were pumping into me. They were pumping Michael Jackson juice and fentanyl in me to keep me under. And they decided that they needed to pull me out. I'm jumped back. I'm going to tell this part first. That they needed to try to get me out of a coma before the 14th day, so they started trying to slowly bring me up, and then I'd start thrashing and biting my tubes in half. So they take me back down, and they fix everything, and then I don't know how long, a little while later, they'd try it again, and I'd do the same thing. They didn't know what to do. So back to what I started to say was when I started to wake up, I could see these stanchions, I saw the beds, all the equipment, and the lights, and a big window, a nice pretty sun coming in this window, and I'm looking around and I'm kind of high. My vision's coming from a high level, and I'm looking down on it. And I'm looking around and I'm like, whoa, this is serious. And about that time, I was looking and I saw something move, and I looked, focused, and it was me. I had rolled over in the bed, and I saw the gear that they had on my face. As I rolled over, I could see it, and I just saw the side of my head as I rolled my head over. So I guess that's a out-of-body experience or something like that. And about the time I saw that, I got shoulder butted, and I turned, and it was my mom.
Who's passed away?
Huh?
Who's in heaven?
My mom.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And it was my mom, and she laughed at me, and she says, or smiled at me, and she says, Ricky, she says, you don't need to be down here. You need to get back. You got too many babies to take care of. Then I woke up. But my mom and I were butterflies. I see my mom every year since she passed. She comes in to our house as a butterfly and lives on the porch. And each year she'll come back as a different color. But she stays there on the porch. So anyhow, I woke up, and that's not the end of it. It got worse. They had me in step down. First step down, they realized that I was contracting C. diff. C. diff, is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
Remember that.
C. diff. Yeah. C. difficult.
Yeah, C. diff. I don't know if anybody knows about it. Bad news. It's
It's an
intestinal virus.
Yeah, bacteria. Yeah.
Bacteria, and you get diarrhea real bad, and oh my
You can
goodness.
die from that. Yeah.
It's bad. Smell. They had me in a large room by myself, and it just went on and on, like it was never going to stop. When you're laying in a hospital bed, and you still have to take care of number one and number two, it makes it kind of rough on you when you can't hardly even move. So I went through that. It finally got through it where it wasn't as bad. And then as that got straightened out, they were trying to find a rehab for me because I'd been off my feet so long and I couldn't walk. Couldn't do anything, just lay in bed. That's all I could do. And so they finally found a rehab that would take me. And it was, what was the name of it?
You okay? Getting your breath? Yeah.
Next to Battlefield in Fremont.
Okay.
In Springfield, yeah. Something Springs or something like that. And so they wheeled me in there. And when they had to get me from the hospital to Springfield. And so I took an ambulance ride. And the coolest thing, when they were moving me from the hospital bed to the ambulance, is they have this air thing. And what they do is they have you roll over on your side, or they pull you over on your side, pull it up underneath you, make sure you're in the middle, and then they hook an air hose up to it, and they shoot it full of air, and it comes up around you and makes like a capsule that you just float in. You know, and then they just slide you around wherever they want to go with you. And it was kind of fun. I enjoyed that. I even brought it home. So they got me in there, and they took me on up to Springfield, and then got me in my room, and the place was real dirty, and but it was the only place I could go that would take me to do my rehab. So basically I was there to exercise and learn how to do everything all over again, because I had forgotten how to do everything. I mean, you name it, I had to retrain myself to do it. It was rather difficult, but those people in that rehab up there, they know what they're doing. And we had heard that if you want to get better, this rehab right here is the place for you to go. And so I went through it and did real well. I was so adamant about something like this happening to me at this age that I've got this thing about me. When I decide that I need to do this, there's nothing going to stop me from doing it. Like the feed the masses. I'm trying real hard to get back on my feet so I can get out there and find the masses. And it's real hard on me because I got to get on my feet. The rest of me's fine. My brain's fine. I'm just like I was. I mean, if I was fine before, I'm just like I was before. But if that's not fine, I'm not fine. So. But oh man, it was a really interesting experience. I can't think of. There was so many people coming in to visit me, and it pulled our family, just sucked us all in together, and we all actually like each other now. And but no, it pulled my ex. I've got a couple ex-wives out there, and it pulled one of them in, and we're all family again with my current wife. And it's just been a really, really, what's the word I'm looking for? Enlightening experience. And I thank you guys. I mean, it's just, I thought about it every day. You know, Kirk would call and so they're asking questions about you, and I said, okay, I'm trying, I'm working on it. I'm going to get out of here one day or another. And then Jana would do the same thing, and you know, it was just once I got home, then it was learning how to do all this stuff at home, because doing it at the rehab and doing it at home are two completely different worlds. And so I've managed to figure it all out except my balance. I can walk, but I have to do wall walking. Is that what you called it?
Wall walking.
Yeah. I have to do wall walking where I can touch something, you know, just so if I fall, I got something to grab a hold of. But if I go out across a room like that, I'll be wobbling and falling all over the place. So I'm close. And I can't wait. I'm excited. I'm just surprised that I've made it back. So, I mean, like I said, I feel normal like I did. And I hear very few people with what I had come out that way. There's something bad wrong with their noggin. And I've heard a lot of scary stories about the illness. I don't think I've told you this, but you remember a year or two before I got real sick when I had pneumonia?
I remember it just a little bit.
I really think I had pneumonia all that time, and that's where I got it. Because the virus, the actual virus, or I don't know what the proper word is for it, but whatever made me sick was a, dang it, I just lost it.
Like a bacteria that got in?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what the doctor told me, and my memory's real bad, and I forget things real easy. I can be talking to you about something and forget what I was talking about. I don't have a clue.
I didn't think it was a few years ago.
Yeah. Well, I think I had pneumonia for that long, all that time.
Wow.
And then it evolved into that illness. That's about all I have to say. Other than I'm glad to be back and be here.
Mm-hmm. I'm so glad.
And
Thank you for sharing.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I wish there was more. It wasn't real exciting, but exciting enough.
I think that's great, yeah. The C. diff that he talked about, they probably pounded him with lots of antibiotics.
Mm-hmm.
And so that takes the normal flora out of your intestine, and then C. diff likes to grow real fast then, and that's not one you want to have in your intestinal tract. So that takes over, and then it gives you all those symptoms. So then what they did, they had to do to save his life, to give him those antibiotics to help his brain and spinal cord resolve all of that bacteria. But then it makes another problem, and so sometimes they have to go in and treat that then,
Yeah,
and that's
well.
just another step. And yeah.
That was rough.
Because you're in isolation,
Yeah.
and so then people, if they want to visit, they have to,
Oh, everybody had to
yeah.
gear up. You
Yeah,
couldn't look
yeah.
like they were in a hazmat suit
Yeah.
to come in my room.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Did you save some of those?
No.
Do you want to add anything? Your version of
Yeah,
it,
sure.
or yeah,
That's
maybe you
okay.
ought to
Yeah.
turn it over.
Well, do you care if you're on YouTube?
No, I don't care.
That will complete his story, because some of it he wasn't, awake even.
Yeah,
and then-
yeah, in the beginning.
Yeah.
So the thing I remember the most is, well, like Rick said, the support from you guys. Pastor Don would text, and I'd give him updates constantly and relay back, and so I knew I could relay to you that everybody's praying for you once you came out of it. But what you said about bringing the family together is so true, because we would pray over you all the time, and doing that with your daughters and your ex-wife and Barb and my dad and everybody, it really brought us together. But you could feel that even your ex-wife's church was joining in with prayer. I mean, she had a pretty large connection there too.
Mm-hmm.
And so that it just felt like there was a whole group of Christians praying for you. And from my perspective, without a doubt, it was a pure miracle.
Yeah.
So that's it.
I know my girls got there. It really made them come in close, because they were kind of going like this, and got their own lives going, and they were kind of getting far away from the family and religion, and it's just amazing, some of the things that they've talked to me about and said to me since this happened, that I never ever thought I'd hear that come out of their mouth. And because they're kind of rough around the edges and tomboys, And matter of fact, they don't have men, but they have themselves and their kids, and they all both live in Nixa. And it's actually, like I said, it's pulled everybody in. It's just so amazing. And it amazed me. I didn't even realize that we were so far apart till they got pulled in. And it was really nice, a blessing. So now they want me to move up there, and now I'm dealing with that.
There's one other thing I'd like to add if I could. The doctors, when they were talking to us, they tell you in a subtle way, they kind of, they're well trained to let you down softly when it's bad news. And so they had for a couple of days started telling us about, we're reaching that point where if they have to do a trach, it's hard to reverse, and it's a difficult road back once you get beyond the 14 days. And you could tell through their body language and what they were telling us that they didn't have much hope. And after you woke up, there was a buzz in the hospital.
Oh yeah, I forgot that.
Because they wanted to see the miracle patient. Other people in the hospital were coming to see him.
Doctors
because
and nurses.
they all knew how unusual it was, and maybe some of them not being believers, to them it's not a miracle, but just by their reaction, it just further evidence that it really was a true miracle.
It was quite the experience. Not one that I care to do again. It's pretty scary.
We don't always get to pick, do we?
No.
God takes us down roads, and yeah.
Now, speaking of God, I spent a lot of time with Him, talking to Him. I had my cell phone in my bed right here, and played constant spiritual type videos, whatever I could find online. And they were just going constantly, and I was talking to Him constantly. I was talking to my mom constantly, and talking to the Lord more than her. We seem to have created a relationship where we're just like buddies, more than we were before. And I'd just be walking along and talk to Him. He's right beside me, and I just talk to Him like I'm talking to you guys right now, and just have a conversation. And that was real enlightening in my travels, and where I'm wanting to go and what I'm wanting to do. And so I think what we're talking about with this homeless thing is going to be a pretty big deal. And I want it to be a big deal. I want it to be big. I'm talking the masses, not just Branson, everybody. And a lot of this planning that I did in my head and on paper or in my phone, I'm off subject. I don't want to go into another subject.
Well, I mean, we have time. We all wanted to hear what your plan was anyway at some point. So
Was there any questions? No questions? Okay.
Do you remember anybody from when you were in the hospital in the coma or coming out of it? Do you remember anything that the nurses or doctors said to you? Do you remember it rather than your family telling?
When I came out, yes.
Do you remember when you were under? Do you remember hearing them?
Oh, no.
You didn't know.
No. Only thing I remember faintly is the music. Music is a big thing in my life. This is my band. Anyhow, not my band, but friends of mine. And they, let's see, what was I going to say?
Hospital
You heard-
worker
if you
voices.
heard anything.
Did you
yeah.
hear
Yeah, my girls said, and my ex-wife said You get your phone, play music, play Pink Floyd for him. And so they put Pink Floyd up there for me. And I might have heard that because they had my phone. You can see in all the pictures, my phone's right beside my head. And they're the girls. That was the girls and my ex-wife playing music for me because they know how much I like music. That's about all I can think of. I'm sure there were other things.
Well, if you want to, you can share your dream. Share your what
with
you
the
want to do. Yeah,
the
I mean, we
homeless.
heard- yeah.
I had a this happened back in 04, 05. I rededicated my life in Little Rock, Arkansas, and I was the chef of the Regions Bank Tower, the Little Rock Club, and I was basically at that time the chef of Springfield or of Little Rock, and I was friends with all the other chefs, and we all worked together, and we had a big homeless problem, and there was a large apartment complex that it was real old, and it had come up for grabs, and somehow the city ended up with it, and I says, why don't we just turn it into a place where we can bring the homeless in. And first, everybody's got to be vetted big time because I don't want people drugs and shooting and killing, and I don't want to mess with all that. I'm trying to feed them and teach them how to work. So we bring them in, we give them a room, we give them a job. If they know how to work in a hotel, we give them a position, and they go to that position like a normal job to pay for their room and board. There's a kitchen. If there's not a kitchen there, we're going to build a kitchen, and it's going to be large enough to where I can employ 6, 8, 10 people, and they're all going to be homeless, and I'm going to teach them. I teach them how to work in a kitchen, how to wash dishes, how to cook. I've trained so many cooks in my life, and a lot of them are doing really good. And I've done a lot of interns, trained a lot of interns when I was in Georgia. So I feel that I can do this. It's going to take a while. It's going to take a lot of people. But like I said, the masses, that's the thing, is I'm thinking large, because my idea is, when I was in Little Rock, we made this board. We all had a meeting, and I brought this up, and I said, why don't we have you guys, and there was probably 6 or 8 representations of churches there that did feed homeless, but each one, like, they would feed 10, they would feed 30, they do feed 5, they were all different. And the way my thinking was is you bring your food in, raw product, to a centralized location, all of it. Not a little here, a little there, and there. You bring it into a centralized location. You handle it properly. You store it properly, and you cook it properly, and you ship it out properly, so nobody gets sick. So we would make it up, let's say at the hotel, the restaurant that's in the hotel where they're living. Homeless people would prepare the meals. They would portion it out. Let's say we got 10 meals going here, 20 there, and then we would ship out from the main location. It would go out, and these churches could still feed their 5 people and 10 people and all that. And it would, like I said, pull everything together. And then at the same time, you're training the homeless people that are there with you, you're training them how to do this. And then someday when they have learned and feel like they can move on, then they'll go get a job somewhere else and do their thing. And that's kind of the idea My my thoughts on the thing, it might even have been a dream when I first thought about it, because I still have this feeling of rubble and people being in a bad way, and nobody can find any food, and feeding lots of people that are in bad shape. Like if we was to go set up over there, over where they're having, there's other countries that are having a hard time, and got wars and who knows what's going to happen. But I have got my name in with a guy that builds these portable kitchens. I need to go to the restroom.